Today we're going to talk about a very, very important subject if you're buying or selling a condo, and it's Law 16. This law is the new rule that can literally affect your condo's value.
Yes, I saw it coming, and I'm not sure. Is it only in Quebec?
Yeah.
Yes. And
Yeah.
what is exactly Law 16, and why was it created for?
Okay, so Law 16, it is, like we say, mandatory in Quebec, and it's for the co-ownership. It was adopted since 2019, but because of all of the things that needed to get prepared, it got published on July 30th of this year, and it came into effect on August of this year. And it's basically a law that it's imposing a whole bunch of new obligations for divided co-ownerships.
Okay.
And the reason why it was created was because there were a good percentage of the co-ownerships in Quebec were not maintaining the buildings in good condition and were not saving enough money, because people tended to want low condo fees because they didn't want to pay every month so much money, or because they said that it would affect the resale because people didn't want to buy something with high condo fees. And what was happening? There was a lot of continuous problems with the buildings and a lot of claims to the insurance companies that said, hey, we need to put a stop to this, and we need buildings to be well maintained and with enough money in different funds, and we're going to talk about that.
That is amazing, because in Montreal, let me tell you that it was needed.
Oh my God.
Many tenants have complained to the fact that rent has been increasing and the buildings have been decreasing of quality.
In really bad shape.
In very bad shape. So they question, why should I pay more for a residence that my quality of life is not very good?
Absolutely, yes.
So and it has become mandatory to effect right now. And who does it apply? I know you mentioned it a little bit, but I wanted to concretize it to be clear.
So in co-ownership, there's two types of co-ownerships: divided and undivided. Divided, you own your condo plus a percentage of the common areas. Undivided, you own a percentage of the building and you have the right of use of your condo. So this law applies to divided co-ownerships, so which are the most common ones. Like I said, it started to get prepared since 2019, but the law actually was published on July 30th of this year, and it came into effect on August of 2025. Co-ownerships have until August 14th of 2028 to comply with it.
So that means that owners and co-owners will have some meetings with the syndicate to make sure everything is in order, and that means
a lot of surprises.
Exactly, money-wise.
Yes.
Oh my God!
Yes.
So that would be a huge headache for a lot of people.
Because this Law 16, since before we already had what we call the contingency fund. But now with Law 16, we have additional obligations. What are those additional obligations? So number one, each co-ownership needs to have a self-insurance fund. The self-insurance fund has to have the maximum amount of the deductible of the insurance in case there's a claim. Because you know what was happening? There was a claim. The insurance company said, okay, I'm going to fix it. Give me the money for the deductible. Surprise, surprise. The co-ownership didn't have the money. So that's one of the things. So self-insurance fund. Number two, each building is going to have a contingency fund study and a maintenance logbook that is going to have to be completed by August 14th, 2028. And from then on, it has to be updated every 5 years. And this basically, what it tells the co-ownership is how much money you have to save. So when the big repairs are needed, the windows, the roof, you have the money. And it's also going to tell the co-ownership what are the things you need to look every year. Yes. Do I have to check caulking of the buildings? Like, it's helping the co-ownership maintain, maintaining proper condition.
Exactly.
And finally, there's a new document that in French it's called l'attestation de l'état de la copropriété, which is the Syndicate Attestation. And it's a very interesting document. It has like 2 or 3 pages, and it says how much money is in the contingency fund. Do you have a self-insurance fund? What is the maximum deductible? What are the latest claims in the co-ownership? What are the latest works? Do you have any legal? The brokers used to have a very similar document called the RIS, which is the request of information for the syndicate, but only if you worked as with a realtor. But now this new syndicate attestation it's coming to make it even more specific and with more questions, so it's really helpful for the buyers.
So if I understand, these are the documents and studies that the syndicates will need to have to accommodate this new Law 16.
Exactly.
Are there any new ones or any other that we're probably missing?
Well, the contingency fund study didn't exist as a mandatory study. It wasn't mandatory. The maintenance logbook, neither. There were some co-ownerships that anticipated and said, you know what? Like anything, when you own a house, you have your checklist. In the winter, I do this. In the summer, I do this. So some of them had like a in-house, but it was not mandatory. The self-insurance fund was not mandatory. It was only the contingency fund. And this document that I call the Syndicate Attestation, it's all new. Everything is new.
Incredible. And you know what's kind of complicated with this and complex is that many owners don't even pay their fair share to the syndicate to make sure everything should be complying in order to make arrangements of or fix any damages. But what happens if a building doesn't comply with the Law 16?
It's already happening. And the thing is that it's going to be really, number one, it's going to be really difficult to sell. Personally, I have a couple of clients looking for condos. And even before we do a visit, I check if they're complying with Law 16.
Good.
They cannot, some of them, they haven't done everything because they have until 2028. But do they have they started? Do they have the intention? If not, I don't even show those condos to my buyers. Yeah. So that's number one. Number two, insurance companies can deny coverage. And there are some buildings that have had a lot of difficulty to get coverage because they're not up to date in those things, or they get insurance companies that are extremely expensive. And if they're extremely expensive, that means your condo fees are going to go up.
Exactly.
And the other thing that is really critical is that there's several banks like Banque Nationale and Desjardins that are not financing a buyer if they see that the building doesn't have a contingency fund and a self-insurance fund.
Oh my God.
So if you want to, even as a buyer, if you decide, I don't care, I'm going to buy, and you're trying to apply for a mortgage with these two institutions, they're going to deny it.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Okay,
Yeah.
so they're taking matters, hands into this matter.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. And what happens when, because everything will come down again to the owners and the owners' pockets. What happened in those cases when the owner, not just the building per se, but the owners don't want to comply?
Look, let's say that after doing the study suggests that every owner has to pay out of their pocket, I don't know, $10,000 in special assessments.
Yeah.
If there's an owner that decides that they don't want to comply and they don't want to pay, the syndicate of co-owners has the right to put a legal lien against the condo and even force the sale to get that money. So don't forget that when you don't pay the bank, when you don't pay the city, when you don't pay the school board, so municipal and school taxes, and an entrepreneur or a syndicate of co-owners, this 5 can force the sale of your property if you owe them money.
Do you think that the future of condos could be compromised with this law?
Absolutely. It is already compromised.
Yeah.
Look, the amount of people calling me now because they're panicking and they want to sell because their co-ownership is not complying. I'm like, yeah, you can sell, but you're going to have to sell at a discounted price because you're already too late.
Yeah.
The people are already looking at that. And on the contrary, when you put a condo in a co-ownership that is healthy, it sells like this. Because nobody wants to buy a problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be the standard from this upcoming year to the future.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So what are buyers like? How are buyers feeling about this fact of buying condos and having this problem that they have to face that they didn't face before?
They are understanding that the process is going to take some time until we find a condo in a healthy co-ownership. And they're also understanding, depending on their budget, if they're under 400 or 450,000, that whenever there's a condo that goes up in a healthy co-ownership, there's probably going to be multiple offers.
Amazing. And talking about buyers, how can a buyer verify if a building is compliant?
You need to ask for all of these documents. So if you're not doing business with a broker will know. But if you're not doing business with a broker, there's several, and you should take note of these documents, which are contingency fund, self-insurance fund, contingency fund study, syndicate attestation, buildings policy insurance, and minutes and financial statements of the co-ownership. All of these things is things that you need to check. You need to read. You need to understand. So sometimes for a new home buyer that they're buying in a co-ownership, getting help from a realtor
and for a very good one, because it's new. So do you think that a few agents won't be knowledgeable from this?
There is a lot of lack of knowledge from some professionals. Personally, at REMAX, which is my agency, we have a specific program called copropriété. You are not, it's not mandatory, but you can decide to do it or not. I did it, and we have like a special certification called copropriété.
Nice.
We study, and every year we have an update on it. So that's why I already had advised many of my buyers 2 years ago of everything that was coming.
And talking about owners, because we talked it a little bit through the episode, but I wanted to concretize the financial impact that a current owner will have with this new law.
Be ready. There's going to be a lot of special assessments.
Yeah.
And I think we spoke about it in another episode, but I am going to give a concrete example. I have some clients that when they did the contingency fund study, they were so behind because they wanted to keep the condo fees low. They were so behind that they had to pay that to be up to date and have the money required for the works. Just for their unit, they had to pay $8,000. They have to pay $8,000 for the next 8 years.
Oh my God.
In addition to the condo fees.
Oh my God.
So monthly condo fees that went up from $200 to $490 something, so more than double. And a special assessment every year of $8,000 for the next 8 years. So it is critical. It is critical.
And do you think that it's fair when owners of a building, because they have to be charged this amount, and some owners they decide not to pay, and some syndicates they because they need to have that money saved somehow, they start recharging those who pay more. Do you think it's fair?
It's not fair, and they really look, if there's an urgent thing to fix, they will, and there's like I don't know, a good percentage of co-owners that are not paying and they need to fix something, they will have no choice but to do another special assessment to all the co-owners to try to compensate for that amount. But in parallel, what they're going to do is they're going to bring those co-owners that are not paying to small claims. And once they recuperate the money, they would probably put it back. They would probably redistribute it. But that's why when you're buying in a co-ownership, you need to read the minutes. You need to understand if the co-owners are paying or not paying. Because the fact that there's other co-owners that are just not wanting to comply means you're eventually going to have to pay. Exactly. It's like in a couple. If you need to put your kids to school and one of the partners doesn't want to pay, well, the other one is going to have to pay because the kids need to go to school.
And you know what? Those are the things that some owners, they are not even aware of. Even the meetings, the annual meetings that they do, most of the people don't even go. And those are the things that are discussed. So try to be more aware of those things, because a lot of people, they just pay and pay and pay, and they're not even aware that a lot of people in the same condo are not paying, so you're paying for them.
Exactly. That's one of my biggest advice when I have condo buyers. I tell them it's a meeting once a year. It's probably 2 or 3 hours. Yes, it's annoying. Please go. Please go, because don't forget that when you buy in a building, you are co-owner. Co-owner means that all the hallways, the elevators, any common party, you own a share of that with the other neighbors. So it's like in a marriage.
Exactly.
So you are buying with, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 more people. So at least go to the co-owners meeting and read the minutes, participate, talk to your neighbors, talk to your conseil d'administration. Now I forgot how to say that in English, but the board.
The board.
Talk to the board members. Ask questions. Yes, very important.
That's so important.
Yes.
And I know that we've talked a bit about the reselling of the condos, because it will create a huge impact. But how is this law impact its value?
If you are in a building, if you own a condo in a building that it's far away from complying with the law and you want to sell, prepare to sell at a very discounted price.
Oh my God.
But if you own a condo in a co-ownership that's healthy and complying, prepare to, and if you put it at a good price, prepare to get multiple offers.
And if everything is good and everything's compliant, what are the real benefits for both the owners and the buyers?
It's called transparency, and it's also called being prepared for what comes. That's, yes, it might be a hit now to say, okay, my condo fees are, I don't know, increasing 20, 30%. But when it's time to change the windows, when it's time to, when there's a claim and you need to pay the insurance, the deductible, when it's the time to change the roof, people in the past, what they would say is, oh, let's keep the condo fees low. And then when it was time to change the roof, okay, you all need to contribute $10,000 and everyone was unhappy. And then there was somebody that couldn't pay. So they had to bring him to small claims. So it's called being prepared. Look, at the end of the day, your condo is probably your biggest investment. So you get life insurance, you get health insurance. This is like having an insurance for the co-ownership you own a condo in, so that when the co-ownership or the building is sick, let's say I need to change the roof, you have money to bring it to the doctor and to pay the repairs. Let's try to do like a comparison like that. So it gives transparency, peace of mind. It's probably, if your co-ownership is complying, it's gonna give you options when it's time to get insurance, because you're gonna get insurance with any company and not just trying to get the only one that's gonna insure you. So I think it's great. It's painful, but it's great.
But talking about relationships, because you're cohabitating and dealing with money with different people, and not a lot of people will have the same values and perspectives as you. So do you think that a condo owner will have more headaches than a residential owner?
If, well, it depends. Maybe the house is a delayed headache.
Yes.
Because if you don't save every month when it's time to change the roof and the windows, you're going to have to still. The good thing about the house is that you don't have to discuss those things with anyone else.
Yes.
If you're good at saving, you're good. You don't have to discuss it. Then in the co-ownership, yes, you have to understand that you're getting into a sort of marriage with your neighbors, but it also depends on your lifestyle. If you travel a lot, if you don't want to take care of your lawn, if you don't want to, you have someone managing it, so it's an easier type of lifestyle. Me personally, I prefer to pay condo fees and have everything taken care of than have a house and think about the snow, the grass. So it depends on the lifestyle, but yes, it's a compromise, an additional compromise, yes.
I always say that you choose your burden.
Exactly. Choose your poison.
Yes. And talking about condos and the condo board, what should condo boards do to comply to this law?
Look, they have to understand it first. They have to know exactly what are the implications, what studies they need to do. Second, they need to contact a couple of companies that can do the studies. And third, I think it's very important for the board to communicate with the rest of the owners. Make them understand the importance of this new law and why it's not just because you want to impose higher fees or something. Explain the reasoning behind the law and the implications that it's going to have if the co-ownership doesn't comply with it.
Do you think that this law could be interesting to pass it nationally and not just in Quebec?
Absolutely. It's something, a lot of people say it's to benefit the insurance companies. Yes, they do benefit the insurance companies, but at the end, if your building is too old and you cannot get insured, imagine, what are you going to do? Yes, it does. But it also benefits them because the insurance companies were just paying claims because buildings were getting old and were not being well maintained. See what happened in the old port with that building or two buildings that they were doing Airbnb a couple of months ago.
What happened?
They burned and a lot of people died there because
my
they were buildings that was not a divided co-ownership.
Okay.
But that's to give you an example of how many owners have just neglected to maintain their buildings, and this could be the life of somebody.
That's
true. If you're in the last floor of a building and the roof is not taken care of and you have a water leak, it means it's terrible for you. So yes, it is a pain now, but it's something that in the future, in the medium and long term, people are not going to regret it.
And do you think that this type of increase will affect tenants as well?
I think tenants are going to be happy that they're living in a good maintained building. It might affect the rents because probably rents are going to have to go up if condo fees go up.
Exactly.
But then again, the tenant can decide that they can live in a building with less amenities or something like that if they want to pay. But I think tenants are going to be happy that the buildings where they're paying rent are well maintained.
Because we have been seeing a trend here in Montreal and the surroundings that rent has been increasing, but they don't understand that owners have to maintain a good quality of life and structure. That sometimes, even though the owners don't live there, they have to provide that for the tenants.
Yeah, there's a very, let's say that there's the tenants that are not happy with rents going up.
Yeah.
But what they need to understand is that the fixed costs for an owner have also gone up.
Yeah.
Interest rates have gone up. Condo fees, because of this type of new laws, are going up. Municipal taxes are going up. School taxes are going up. So at a certain point, one defends its position, the other one too, and I think it's something that the government would need to do, either to alleviate the fixed cost of owners so they can offer better rents or lower rents.
Exactly. And one last question. What is Catalina's professional advice for navigating properly and with ease this Law 16?
Just get your hands on the law right away. Do not wait until 2028, because you are risking on not getting insured, on not having buyers that can buy because they will not be financed by any financial institution.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of consulting, hiring somebody to do the studies, but not wait. Please do not wait, because the more the time passes, things are going to get more complex, things are going to get more costly.
Yes.
And you're risking, like we say, probably not getting insured and nobody being able to sell in your building, and then eventually everyone wanting to sell and you having to lose money. There's buildings like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I don't know if there's a good period of time now on that owners would want to sell because they want to avoid the headache knowing that the buildings are going to...
Yes.
Yeah, do you think so?
There's a lot of people now doing that, and unfortunately, their condos, unless they put them at a very interesting price, they stay on the market because buyers now have this information.
Oh my God, so owners run. Rush. Thank you, Catalina, for this amazing episode. Now we know what's going to happen from now on with this new Law 16.
Law 16.